It's time for predictions versus reality for the LA Chargers. And, the obvious thing I think a lot of people are looking forward to me talking about is hearing me revisit my comments on the Chargers rookie quarterback, Justin Herbert. And I figure if nobody else is going to make a compilation, I might as well do it myself. It's time to keep myself honest, to kind of keep myself accountable. I'm going to play a couple of clips. And here's what I said about Justin Herbert last year. Roll the clown music. But I am not confident that Justin Herbert is going to succeed as an NFL quarterback. I do not believe Justin Herbert loves football. I don't believe Justin Herbert, the Oregon quarterback, loves the game of football. Justin Herbert has a number of really alarming problems as a quarterback. He's going to need to sit for a while. I would hope my favorite team does not draft Justin Herbert. He's got too many mistakes and too many problems, and there's other quarterbacks available that are a lot better than him. He is not ready to be an NFL starter. He needs to sit for a while. It's like he plateaued. He just stopped getting better. He just has been kind of the same quarterback for the last 3 years. Why isn't he getting significantly better every year the same way Joe Burrow is? I think Justin Herbert was like, I'm pretty good. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. It's working. He's just going to keep driving the car down the road rather than accelerating the car and dialing it up a notch and continuing to improve and continuing to progress. My uneasy gut feeling about Justin Herbert is because he doesn't love football. He likes football, doesn't love it, and that's a huge difference. And I wouldn't want a franchise quarterback that doesn't love the game of football. Now, hey, look, it's fun to meme on myself, make fun of myself a little bit, but I do also feel a desire to defend my honor, like just a tiny bit. So I think it's forgotten. I also did say this stuff. Many of the problems Justin Herbert has are fixable. If he gets a good coach and works the right person, he could fix these mistakes and become a solid quarterback. Maybe that's just his style. I try to be very cautious. Maybe Justin Herbert's just a boring, even keel guy that never gets too high and never gets too low. So maybe that's an unfair criticism. I acknowledge that. It's not even a criticism. It's just I'm pointing that out. You watch Joe Burrow. He's excited. He cares. He's passionate. There's a thing that comes out of him. It's like a fire inside. You don't see that same fire when you watch Justin Herbert, but maybe that's just a personality differences. I acknowledge that. And this is all speculation. I can own that. You might be mad. Zach, you can't say this stuff. I can say whatever I want. But this is speculation. I'm making a guess here. It's my gut feeling. I don't know. This isn't confirmed. There's no facts here. This is what I believe and kind of my opinion. That's what the show is. And if you want to poke holes in this opinion and this theory, go ahead. You can poke holes in this all you want. This is not bulletproof. I'm not going to be able to have conversations with Justin Herbert the same way other NFL teams. NFL teams get the opportunity to meet Justin Herbert, to shake his hand, to have in-depth conversations about him. I believe if I could talk to Justin Herbert in person, I could get a sense of, does he love football or not? So last year, I predicted the LA Chargers to go 6-10. And I was actually pretty close. The reality is they went 7-9. But it's the substance that I got very, very wrong. I assumed that Tyrod Taylor was going to play most of the year. The main focus of the Chargers season last year was their young quarterback, Justin Herbert. And I was monumentally wrong about Justin. He won the NFL Rookie of the Year award. I guess Offensive Rookie of the Year because it's an offensive, defensive rookie. He threw for 4,336 yards, 31 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. And I got to be honest, Justin was way better last year than he was 2 years ago in his senior year at Oregon. And I honestly believe that not having classes, that helped him. Remember, he's a 4.0 student, was in a pretty hard major. Being able to fully focus on football, for sure. I have no doubt that helped Justin. And then also, he got much better coaching. He was working with Chargers head coach Anthony Lynn and their quarterback coach, Pep Hamilton. Pep Hamilton, former DC Defenders XFL coach, now the quarterback coach in Houston, actually. And all the problems I saw on tape in college simply did not show up last year in the NFL, which is that never, I can't imagine a time where that's happened, where a guy had all these flaws and problems in college and then clearly did a ton of work and prepared really hard to get rid of them. And one of the things I talked about was how Justin didn't get better. For years, I was like, man, why is Justin not getting better? And I always put that on Justin. Like maybe Justin isn't working very hard, or there's like a lackadaisical nature to him or something where it's like he's just happy chilling. I think the reality is I didn't put any blame on the Oregon coaching staff, and getting better coaching pretty clearly made Justin way better. And any criticism of his work ethic or this or that, like, just wrong, because he got way better last year. Now, another thing, I think the thing I was most wrong about in my analysis of Justin Herbert is I kept saying, like, do not play Justin early in the year. Do not play him. I thought early in the year meant too early, but when I said do not play Justin too early, I meant week 1, week 2, like Justin better not take the field. And week 2 against the defending champion Kansas City Chiefs, Justin was forced into action and was outstanding. He held his own, played very, very well. And from that point on, Justin went on a tear and was very, very impressive all year. Now, as a team, forget Justin for a second. As a team, the LA Chargers underperformed a bit. They lost 7 games by 1 score or less. I would imagine that is why the Anthony Lynn era came to an end. And actually a common theme in the Anthony Lynn era, he's the former head coach in LA, they lost a lot of games by 1 score with Anthony Lynn as their head coach. That must say something about him. He got fired. I think the lowest point of the year for LA was week 13, where they got absolutely embarrassed by the Patriots, 45-0. Now, the Chargers' new head coach is Brandon Staley, the former Rams defensive coordinator. I'm hopeful for the Chargers' future, man. I feel really good about it. They got a lot of young talent. They found their franchise quarterback. They got a new coach. Their other first-round pick, Kenneth Murray, a linebacker, had a pretty solid rookie year. I'm excited for his future as well. I mean, I can't wait to watch the Chargers play. I can't wait to see them play in 2021. It's going to be really fun. Now, to end this segment, I want to read a question from the audience. Tyler wrote in on Patreon, as you can as well. Go to patreon.com/Zach Schaumler. Tyler wrote this. He said, "Hey, Zach, I am a new Patreon member, and this is my first time posting a question. Anyways, congrats on the engagement. I am so incredibly happy for you. You deserve all the happiness in the world." I'm actually not wearing the ring today. It makes a loud sound on the table. Here's my question. Tyler says, evaluating quarterbacks is hard. I feel as though I have a good eye for them, but obviously I make errors in judgment like everyone else. For instance, I would have never put stock in, I never put stock in a Josh Allen. And well, we know how that turned out. Just like me, you had severe doubts about Justin Herbert. Can you explain the difficulty in judging quarterbacks coming out of college and how sometimes these players can go beyond expectations of most? So the hardest part of evaluating quarterbacks for me is that I can't talk to them. It's been fun, actually. Some of the college quarterbacks that are becoming NFL quarterbacks I've been talking to recently, and it's fun to get to know them a little bit and hear how their brains work. But Justin Herbert was a guy I couldn't talk to. I didn't get into a room with him and meet with him. And NFL teams can get in a room and talk with these guys and ask them about their mistakes and what went wrong and ask them all kinds of questions. And for me, evaluating quarterbacks, that's a massive disadvantage, is not being able to talk to a lot of these guys in the draft process. You know, film only tells you so much. And I think I went a little bit far inferencing things on film that must have meant something about who he is rather than just going, I don't know. For example, Justin kept making the same mistake over and over and over again in college. And I thought, like, this guy must not love football. Like, why is he not getting better? But the reality is I think it was actually that he wasn't getting very good coaching at Oregon. And if I met with Justin, I could have asked him, like, hey, what's up with these mistakes? Why are you struggling to throw the ball up and over defenders? Or what's up with you extending plays and not going very well? And, you know, I would ask him about all this stuff, but I can't ask him that. And I also would ask him, you know, why do you love football? You can't ask someone, do you love football? They're going to say, yeah, of course. And that's the end of the conversation. But if you ask somebody why they love football, their answer and the passion behind it and what they have to say, it's very, very telling. And I just, in the draft process, I can't get in a room with a guy like Justin Herbert. Now, I'm kind of an outsider. Some of that's by choice. Some of that, you know, I have friends in the NFL, but I don't want to bother them. Like, the last thing I would want to do is have a guy in the NFL come on my show and then he says something noteworthy that gets reported everywhere, which would help me, by the way, but I fear that I would derail his career, and I don't want to do that. And I also got to say, sometimes I don't trust people with microphones who are really good friends with quarterbacks. Where, like, if you're really good, to ask yourself this question: if you're really good friends with somebody, are you biased about them? Because I am. I love my friends. If my friends make a mistake, I'm gonna go, like I'm gonna be very, very careful before I come down hard on them. So when people are really good friends with a lot of these quarterbacks, I kind of don't trust them. I'm like, you're biased, dude. Like very, very biased. And some people have shows where they don't ask people hard questions, and it drives me nuts. It's like, man, that's not a real question. Like you're just BSing, and people like that. I don't know. But I'm totally derailed from the point here. Justin Herbert and Josh Allen completely changed the way I evaluate quarterbacks. They had a ton of talent, but also problems. When you watch their college tape, Josh Allen was like moments where like, that's not an accurate, like what's happening with accuracy there? Justin Herbert had problems on tape, and they got to the NFL. They got great coaching, and they got way better. And I could not have predicted that. And that's something where I've had to change. Like Josh Allen and Justin Herbert are the reason why I wanted the 49ers to draft Trey Lance number 3 overall from North Dakota State. Because he's crazy talented, and with good coaching from Kyle Shanahan, the sky is the limit for Trey Lance. And so because of Justin Herbert and Josh Allen, I opened my mind a little bit and went, okay, Justin Fields had problems on tape. That doesn't mean he can't fix them either. So Justin Fields, Trey Lance, guys like that, I'm like, these had problems, but I go, sure, but with good coaching, they can fix that. The talent is worth it to invest in them and maybe help them play the quarterback position with a little more, what's the word I'm looking for? A little more finesse or a little more polish, I guess. Polish is the word I'm looking for. You can teach Justin Fields how to extend plays and be a little more cautious with the ball. You can't teach anybody to run the ball like Justin Fields. Like that's just, you have it or you don't. You can't teach a guy to run people over like Trey Lance can do. And so I think I've really evolved. Lamar Jackson's another guy where we saw him really develop and do incredible stuff. And you can't teach raw, incredible skill and talent. Like talent, if you can run like Lamar Jackson, I'll teach you how to play quarterback. Like I can teach you how to read a defense. I can't teach you to run like Lamar Jackson. So that's how my process evaluating quarterbacks has evolved and changed recently because of some of these young quarterbacks. Like I love Tua a lot. Tua Tagovailoa is one of my favorite quarterbacks in the NFL. I've got his jersey. It's the only NFL jersey I own. Physically, Tua can't do anything that impressive that you can't teach. Like Tua can't run. Tua can't run people over. Tua's not incredibly tall. Tua doesn't have a massive arm. Tua's a guy who is very, very vanilla as a quarterback, who you can still be. Drew Brees was like that. Tom Brady's like that. Like you don't have to be a freak of nature to be a good quarterback, but it sure does help. And so that's how I've evolved and changed my way of processing and evaluating quarterbacks in recent years.